Hey there property people, thank you so much for stopping by today to check out the details of PropBar, one of the newest tools to hit the UK property market that's here to make our lives a whole lot easier when sourcing and analysing deals. Now I'll be giving you the run through on exactly how this app will help you with your own investing. But before I get into that, do me a favour will you? Give this video a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, hit that subscribe button, you know the drill. That way I'll know I'm creating content that's actually helpful for you. So with that taken care of, let's get started with the review. Like I say, this is a brand new tool that's only been available for a couple of weeks, but it's been developed by a team who have got a track record with AI-based software in the property world, so you know that it's going to be good. It was created to solve a pretty simple problem, providing investors like you and me with a faster, more efficient way to access the data that we need to make those all-important investment decisions when hunting down our next big deal. But here's the kicker. Instead of overloading us with all the bells and whistles, PropBar keeps it super simple and elegant, sharing the data seamlessly alongside the properties that you're already browsing on Rightmove or Zoopla via a Google Chrome browser extension. And as you'd expect from anything released in 2023, PropBar uses the power of AI to help generate the essential data for your decision-making process. But rather than just explain it to you, let me show you around. So once you've got the extension installed, all you need to do is continue your property search wherever you would typically be, whether that's Rightmove or Zoopla, and you will see a whole new world of data right at the top of any listings that you are considering. And you access it via this bar up here. So you can see summary, market history, comparables, EPC, demographics, and crime. Let's just take a quick look at some of the key things that I've come across whilst using this. So summary has got some really useful information. You can go into this in more detail, but the things that stood out for me here specifically, I like the fact that it tells you how long it's been on the market for, what the current sold price, or the sale price is, sorry, the last sold price, and how long it's been on the market for. So you can see that here, days on the market, 214, which sounds to me like quite a long time. The other thing I like about this summary tab is the calculations down here, not so much the estimated rental yield. Great if that information is accurate, but I think you're always going to want to calculate that yourself. But this stamp duty, you can't really argue with that, right? It's a simple formula. So you can see, are you a first-time buyer? Are you buying your next home, or are you buying this as a second home or investment property? And immediately it gives you the information that you need to put that into your deal analysis spreadsheet. You can also see the EPC overview, which is kind of useful, but you will get more detail on that in the specific EPC tab. Moving on to the market history, this is where you can get a real sense of the vendor's motivation, the history of the property, and help you understand if there's any scope to negotiate on that price. So in this instance, for example, we can see here that the current price is £300,000 and it was reduced by £20,000 3 days ago. At the time of recording this video. We can see what it last sold for. So that was £262,500 in 2020. And it was then listed for sale again on the 16th of April, 2022. Now, you can see then down here, for sale listing history, listing price £320,000. We can start to see a real trend in reductions here. So 16th to the 4th, it was actually listed at an initial price of £400,000. Then it was reduced 2 months later to £375,000. 2 months after that, another 25 grand reduction. And then less than a month after that, only a couple of weeks, it was reduced by another £15,000. And then in September that year, right down to £320,000. Now, interestingly, at that point, they switched agents. So it started off with Bridgeford's, and then it popped up again on the 27th of October with Edward Mellors, and they started off £330,000, and then they've reduced it to £320,000, and then again they've reduced it to £300,000. So this gives you a really good idea, in my opinion, of the history. You used to be able to get this data from some tools like PropertyBee, which I don't believe exist anymore. So the fact that we can see this again is super helpful. Then on to comparables, and again, this tab can be super valuable for you depending on the type of analysis that you are looking to do. So filters, first of all, property type, you can see you can filter based on detached, semi, flats, mobile homes, terraced. So you've got all the options here if you just want to focus in on a specific type of property. You can also select the number of bedrooms. So say you're buying a 2-bedroom flat you can just focus in your comparable data and it will tell you, is it sold or currently for sale and on the market? If it's for sale and on the market, you can actually click on it and it will take you to that listing as well. So you could do some further research into that. It will tell you the last sold price and the date that it was sold. It will tell you the current price. I presume this is based on some sort of AI algorithm that calculates it based on comparable sold prices, number of bathrooms, the total area, which can be super helpful. And if you want to change that, you can change it to meters, which is quite nice. The EPC current and potential, and then the distance from the property, which is quite handy because I always advise if you're doing analysis, you want comparables that are ideally within a quarter of a mile or half a mile. So you can see, are these really comparables or are some of them going to be a little bit too far out? If we keep scrolling down though, you'll also see comparable let properties. And this is information that is often so hard to find. Examples of houses that have, or flats in this case, 2-bedroom flats, and what they have actually rented for. So being able to see this data can be super valuable and something that I don't think you can get easily anywhere else. So this alone for me makes it worth installing. If you want to change up the view, you can see it on a map as well as in that list. And you can use more filters here when you come onto the map view. So let's say we just wanted to look at historical letting prices. We can get rid of all of those other filters and see exactly what 2-bedroom flats were renting for and where specifically they were located. We can start to add in more of these filters, sold prices and last sold prices to get a different view if we're looking for different data points. So this tab in particular I find super valuable. EPC, great that we have it here, super handy. You usually get that in the listing anyway, but it gives you a breakdown of the EPC here. So the ratings where there's scope for improvement, which could help you from a high level renovation budget standpoint without having to go and find the actual EPC online somewhere. Demographics, kind of getting into the realms of data that I don't think I will use particularly often, but I'm going to share it with you because you might have uses for it. Housing, so we've got the different types of houses here, how many of them are flats, for the specific postcode that this property is in, by the way. So how many of them are, so semi-detached is by far and away the most popular here, but you see all the other different housing types as well. You see the housing tenure, so is it private landlord, social landlord, council, owned with a mortgage, owned outright, and the housing occupancy. Don't know where they get this data from, don't know how accurate it is, don't know what you would use it for, but there you go. We've also got subtabs here, so we've got people, socioeconomic grades, we've got gender split, relationship status. Age groups might be interesting if you're going down, professional HMO route and you want to make sure that it's a popular location for, your target 20 to 35-year-old demographic or something like that. Health, again, it's there, not sure what you'd use it for, but if you've got an idea, let me know. Culture, ethnic group, country of birth, religion, and then employment. I've never found any data here, so maybe that's a little bug with this. Like I say, it's early launch. Maybe that will update in the future, but I've not been able to find any employment data. And again, in this example, there's no data available for crime, but we have another property here where I found some crime data. Crime increased by 500% during the last year. That's kind of alarmist, but you can see crime levels overview, crime for the last year by month. It shows you what the crimes were. So in this case, they were all either violence, they all come under the category of violence and sexual offenses. And if we keep scrolling down, you'll see a map showing where those crimes were reported. So that's the kind of very quick overview of what the PropBar extension does and all the different data points that you can find when you add it to your browser and use it alongside your deal sourcing processes. Now, I've only been using this for a week or two so far, and honestly, not that intensively yet, but it's the type of solution that's unobtrusive when you're not using it and ready to go as soon as you need it to be. It shows me some data I wouldn't previously have had access to, which I really like. And sure, not every data point might be my cup of tea, but hey, different strokes for different folks, right? I'm sure some of you will find those extra tidbits super handy, and they don't affect my experience one bit. The main thing though is just the time it saves me. me. I can see things like comparable data and stamp duty calculations without needing to go anywhere else. And for me, anything that can save time is a huge win. Now, let's talk about the pricing. So PropBar is currently in its early launch phase and is free for anyone to download and use. But before giving it a mention here, I wanted to find out what their plans were longer term regarding future costs to their users. So I reached out to the founder, Goran, and this is what he had to say. We want the vast majority of the product to stay free and accessible to the everyday person. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and enable data-driven decision-making at no cost. We will be introducing a paid tier with some fancy new features for the people who spend a lot of time on property portals, like investors, surveyors, and agents. Some of these features will let you see the full property address, get custom white-labeled reports, have unlimited access to planning permissions, and our HMO research register, and much more. But other than that, what you see on PropBar today will remain free. So pretty good news, because I already like what I see, and that looks like it's going to remain free for everyone. And if you want to get even more data and save even more time with your research, there will be some new additional features in the future that you can subscribe to and set yourself ahead of the pack when it comes to reviewing potential deals. And whether that helps you avoid buying something based on data that it draws to your attention, or it allows you to make an offer in less time, either way, that feels like a worthwhile investment. So it is early days. There are a few bugs that need to be resolved that I've spotted whilst playing around with it, and we're not entirely sure what their paid features will include. But it's often the simplest tools that we rely on the most, and I think PropBar could become an integral part of your sourcing and deal analysis process, giving you access to more data and saving you time in the process. So that wraps up this little review of PropBar. I genuinely hope it helps you with your own deal sourcing and analysis processes. Let me know in the comments if you're going to check it out, or if you've got any other tools that you just can't live without that I should check out as well. And if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button so I know it was worthwhile putting this together for you. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already to stay in the loop with all things property related. Thank you so much for joining me today, and happy property hunting.